understand the intricacies of how we move out there, and it's just not hodgepodge. There's a reason you're not going 3 deep up the backside. There's trip is so much different here than thoroughbred racing. I think thoroughbred racing is easier for people to understand because they're just more running in on a loose line, and they're in a group, and trip isn't as important it is for us.
Matt, could you comment on that as well? Tell us what racing can do to increase its fan appeal.
We just need to, like he said, we need somehow for people to understand that it's not as easy to understand as thoroughbred racing. They can just watch the race and root for whoever. They're just full out the whole way. With us, we got to trip out. We got to save them. It's a whole different game. And if there's a way we can market it to people where they can understand that and they can get interested in it, and just try to follow, our star horses, I think would help too.
We're here with trainer Ron Burke and Matt Cayley at the USTA Speaker Series. For those of you just joining us, we have free coffee and cinnamon rolls over here, so go ahead and help yourselves. We also have some chairs up front. If you'd like to take a seat, go ahead and come on in anytime. I'm going to open the floor again to questions. Anybody in the audience have a question for Ron and for Matt here? Yes, just a moment.
Do you like heat racing, and do you think that if you publicize heat racing and show the toughness of our breed, that could help in bringing people to the track?
Yeah, I'm on the different end of most of the people in our sport now. I think heat racing's way better. I think we ruined the adios when we went to a 2-week format. We went from 1 great day to 2 okay days. The thing of heat racing and earning your post position means you're going to have at least 4. Well, like today, we're going to have 3 great races, because you're not going out there and saying, well, if I'm 4th, that's all right. I can draw the rail and I can still win the final. You're like, I got to leave it all on the line this first heat because I got to get at least, inside the 4 hole. So to me, I think, heat racing makes it just a way better product, and it does differentiate. It's something a thoroughbred couldn't do. They can't come out and go twice full speed, and even if we have to come back 3 times, and I know it's harder on the horses, but I've seen too many of the horses. They leave here, they're fine. They come out here. The adios, we never seem to have a problem when our horses race there. So I love the idea of heat racing. I think it's back to our roots a little bit when we did well. Maybe not every race is it for, but there are certain, especially the smaller tracks. I think it makes it an interesting thing.
Matt, as a driver, how do you approach heat racing, and what do you think of it in general?
I like heat racing. I like, like he said, I like going out there, and we gotta be top 3. We gotta race them hard, but it's exciting. It makes it more exciting that everybody wants to win, so we can draw 1-2. Not like in the eliminations where, like you said, you can just sneak into the final and draw good and win. You got to do good in the elim here, and it definitely makes for more exciting racing.
Yeah, and he only has to read the program once, so he can sleep a little bit more.
Way easier.
As a trainer, do you do anything in particular to cool them out in between heats? Anything more than you would normally do to cool out a horse?
It's funny, like, since I started, we used to walk them all, have 3 blankets, 2 blankets, 1 blanket. And then basically they did a study when the Olympics were in Atlanta, and basically ridiculed how we did it. The whole idea is ridiculous, that if you would be asking like a guy to go out and run a mile and then put a heavy jacket on him and withhold water. So now we pretty much give them free choice water and put them in a stall and put a fan on them even if we have to. And you would think it would hurt them, but in the long run it has been way better for them. The quicker we can get them cooled down and calmed down, the better off they'll come back, Basically a lot of things we did before was just based on that the people in front of us did it, and that's how we were taught. And the first few times we took Maltese artists, and after the race shoved him in the stall and start just giving him all the water he wants. I think my dad was ready to have a heart attack. But me too. It's worked out. Like, the big thing is now a lot of times we run them on the trucks as soon as the race is over and heading home. They're the most calm and quiet in their own stall. The quicker we can get them home, the quicker we can get them in their own stall, the better they are.
You don't find that the fan blowing on them stiffens them up or anything?
No. I mean, the thing is, go out and run them out and then go stand in a fan. You're not going to, like, tie up or the whole thing. Tying up is not based on, like, getting cold. Tying up is based on, having too much glucose in your system
Right.
and, building lactic acid. One thing had nothing to do with the
More
other.
scientific.
Yeah, it's a completely different game than when we started. And the horses are different. They're also much more refined than they were even when I started. I mean, it's like breaking babies. When we first started breaking babies, it used to be 2 weeks of walking behind them and then another 2 weeks. The other day we brought them out first time, hooked them. I went out the gate by myself right away. They paced around the track perfectly.
Wow.
It's different breed.
Were you able to get anything from the Ohio sale this year?
We got one. It was expensive. That's what I said. It was too much for us. No, she even brought too much. Yeah,
The upfront Kelly Joe, that was a nice one.
That was incredible, yeah.
Yeah. Now, one more quick question for Matt. Do you find that when you're racing with the passing lane that some horses just don't get it to pull to the inside? Some horses are better going to the outside where they
Yeah.
kind of know what they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, even horses that are running in, and you let them drop in the pass and they won't go by. I don't know if it's just because the way they're always trained is a pass on the right. Most of the time no one teaches them how to pass on the left. A lot of them, not a lot of them, but some of them are like that, definitely, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll open the floor to questions again for trainer Ron Burke and driver Matt Kakaley. Anybody have any questions? Those in the back, no? Ron, you're training some 200 head probably. You have your home base at the Meadows in Pennsylvania. You also have a base in New Jersey and Indiana and one in Florida. How do you keep track of all those horses in all those disparate places?
Well, basically every day, or every couple of days, everybody turns in a list so that we know where all the horses are at and who's taking care of them. And every barn has a guy that in reality could work on their own if they had to. Shannon Murphy runs the New Jersey barn. My brother runs the training center at the Meadows. My sister is at the barn at the Meadows, that's where I spend most of my time too. And Jamie Rucker has the barn in Indiana. Keith Kamen had a barn in Poconos this year. And then a couple of them guys head to Florida with my father. And my father, and them guys do the barn in Florida. So, in the winter. So it's definitely a team effort. Like all of us are working together. Basically I have to know where they all are, because if you don't have one guy that knows where everyone is, you have basically nobody that knows where anybody is. So, I'm in charge of entering all the horses because we couldn't have one guy entering for one barn and one guy entering because we move them about. So basically I just get them entered and get them thing, and then basically it's the barn that the horse is in at that moment there to figure out how to get them to that racetrack. Now, if they have to move from one stable to the other, that's between me and them guys to work it out. But, there's a lot of responsibility that goes with the guys that are running the barns, because they have to make sure that, they get done what, we want them to get done, and also that they, keep me informed if things are going bad, that if a horse is having a problem, that, that we need to make a change somewhere. So it's a lot of work for a lot of us.
One product that's made your life a little bit easier is the USTA online entry program. Tell us about that program and how it's changed the way you do business.
I mean, it was great for me, because as much for me as anybody, because I'd have 7 tracks to enter on a typical Tuesday or Wednesday morning. Basically, I would sit there and just dial the phone till they would answer. And, now most of the time I start at like 10 till 6 doing my entries. I could do them at night, except for the truth is I just don't think straight at night. And I would enter horses in the wrong places. I seem to find if I get up in the morning and do it, still, it's a better product, but it still has made an hour difference for me in the morning. And for stake races, it's incredible, because on Sunday, basically, what horses you're sending to what stakes. I can drop them all in on Sunday, and if things go bad during the week, then I'll pull them back out. You can cancel right up to the last minute, on that. So I think the online entry, it's been, great for me. It was funny, we raced in Canada the last couple of weeks, and I had to call in entries, and it seemed like it was killing me. So, I didn't realize how spoiled I've already gotten with it.
And this one comes from Standaber Gal on Twitter. It's for both Ronnie and Matt. If you could drive or train one famous horse from the past, who would it be?
Probably some beach somewhere, because you know he was amazing, and it looked like it was a fun ride every time.
Yeah, for me it would be Nitross. I mean, that was the horse to me that changed the explosion of speed in the sport, and just to see what you could do if you could bring a horse like him, put him in our equipment, with our people driving him, how fast could a horse like that go? I mean, 49-1 back then. I mean, that horse could be the real true force 45 horse now. I mean, it's amazing. He was using a Gerald bike with, a trainer driver. It's a completely different game than it is, today. So I would love to see what he could do now.
And on the trotting side?
Muscle Hill.
Yeah, same for me, Muscle Hill. Of the horses I've seen in person and watched him race, I thought he was the best horse I ever saw.
And this kind of brings it up, but a lot of people speculate that Muscle Hill might have been the fastest trotter ever had he come back at 4. Do you guys, as trainers and drivers, how do you feel about now bringing the horses back along at 4 and 5?
I love it, bringing it back, because that's what I do. I'm more known for racing aged horses, so to me, I enjoy it. I think the people enjoy it. Like Ford, again, have more people that pays attention to him than Mission Brief, And so, to me, I think it has been great, as far as bringing it back for them. But, I think Muscle Hill even could have been the fastest trotter then, even if Brian would have ever turned him loose. Brian's very easy on a horse and never's going to show him off. And I think if he would have, he could have done some really special things.
I love it. Get the good horses back is for, we only get to race them 20, 25 times when they retire them after 3. And, as us as drivers, that's how we're going to make our money. So we want those good ones back as 4, 5, 6. If they're going to be up top of their game and make money, that's how we're going to make money. So we definitely want them on the track.
Again, we're here with trainer Ron Burke and driver Matt Cayley. We have about 10 minutes left for this session. Then we'll be joined by drivers Aaron Merriman and Ronnie Wrenn Jr. at 10 o'clock. So I'll open the floor again. Anybody have any questions?
Since horses are coming back at 4, would you like to see 4-year-old series, 4-year-old stakes, so you're not racing against 5 and 6-year-olds with 4-year-olds, race 4-year-olds against 4-year-olds?
Yeah, that was the idea when Jeff said we're going to do this, that we were going to have more 4-year-old races. We added the Meadowlands maturity, and basically how they have the race in Quebec next week, but that's it. So it has made it hard. 2 years ago when Lou's group was in there, that was such a great bunch of 4-year-olds. They all stepped up and handled it. And they would think, but for, this year's bunch of 3-year-olds that moved up, it was hard because you still had a big group of that 4-year-olds left that now were 5-year-olds, and they all did get better. It's amazing. Lou, Better's Edge, even just in my barn, what a big step up they made. So, I think it is hard for them, but it's a year by year thing. Like, some crops are better than other crops, so they'll be able to handle it. But if there was a place where you could, protect your horse at 4, I even think some of these things would even be better at 5. If you didn't spend your whole 4-year-old year, full gassed out just trying to keep up. I don't think there's much thing, because being honest, there's only so much money to go around in the invitational ranks, and they're not going to split it up and have $200,000-$300,000 races. They're going to still want to have the one $600,000 race. So you're going to be left to manage your horse on your own and do what you think's best. If you don't want to race them at 4, you can always just race overnights. It's still a very lucrative thing. You can go to Yonkers, go for $44,000, and do what you want to do. But as far as me, we usually race them and just, maybe you don't race them as hard as you would race the other horses. You try to get more trips and then hope as 5-year-olds that, you can be more aggressive with them.
Can you tell us how Sweet Lou is doing?
Yeah, he's fine. Basically, in the Canadian Pacing Derby, we managed to take 3 of my own horses and run us all down to 3/4 and 120 against ourselves. And so, he's not a, super horse. He's a very, very good horse. He's even a great horse, but you only so many times can take that trip before it'll show up. So I really wanted to bring him here Thursday, and then basically I started counting up races, and I'm getting to have too many. And there's a big race in Columbus next week that goes for $200,000. So, my plan is I would like to race him there and Lexington, but I gotta try to figure out if there's going to be eliminations for the hourage. So he'll either race Lexington or Scioto and Lexington.
He's been very impressive for the fans. I think he's one of those horses that fans follow. Like, for me, it was Won the West. He was one of my favorite horses for years, so it's great that they're out there. And for Matt, could you tell us about your family that's in harness racing? Because I see when you win the winner's circle and you have lots of help from your family.
Yeah, they're a big support for me. My girlfriend Annie, she's always there, and my mom tries to make it. She's going to be here today for the Jug today and the Jug tomorrow. So, they're a big support system. They're always in my corner, and it's definitely good to have them, have my back and know that there's someone there. No matter how bad I drive, they're still fans of mine.
Matt, what's the horse that you look most forward to driving right now?
Right now, all bets off. 3-year-old New York bred colt. He's I love that horse. He won the Milstein at Northfield, and he's just a really, really good horse. And I really wish he was eligible for the Jug this week, but he's just a great horse to drive, and I just love him.
What advice do you have for young and up and coming drivers, how they can have the success that you've had?
You just gotta dig in. You gotta work, and you can't be afraid to work. Just take advice, and don't be cocky, and don't be a little prick. Don't think you're ever better than anybody else, because we've all been in the same place. We all come up the same way in this game, and if you let your head get too big and forget where you come from, sometimes it come crashing down on you too. So don't be scared to work and take advice, and listen to people.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that you should be humble and you should be courteous as a driver, but then on the other side, there's people that are saying that perhaps in harness racing we have too many gentlemen. We have too many guys that are too nice to one another. What do you?
Well,
say
maybe
to
not
that?
on the track, if you want to be, but you got to put your time in too, because if you're a jerk out there, you're not going to get any respect from us. If you come in and you're parking us, you're running us, you're driving like you don't care, then we're not going to care either. We're out there to race. We're not out there to be friends, but take cheap shots. We can take cheap shots once in a while, and neither of us are going to make money.
We have time for about 2 more questions here with trainer Ron Burke and driver Matt Cayley. Again, for those of you joining us, is there any questions there in the back? I'll come back with the microphone, and you can ask these 2 gentlemen any questions that you might have. Yes.
Excuse me. Hey, Ronnie, who makes the decision? Obviously you've got 2 of the best drivers in the country almost at your disposal. Who makes the decision, and how is it made on what Yannick gets, what Matt gets? How does that decision come up with?
Being honestly, and Matt knows this, Yannick's earned a job. It's been his job. It was, he took it from Brian Sears. He basically stayed, and Brian's not the kind of guy that's going to commit. Yannick was much more to committing, and Matt was at that point was just young and coming up, and you really couldn't say to an owner, hey, we're going to use this guy, and they'd be like, no, we're not, So, but in the last few years, Matt's got more and more, and now Matt, I think he does a wonderful job with babies, as good as anybody, and that's where he started to pick them up. He picks them up as 2-year-olds, and he stays with them, and the difference is, I can tell even when I say to the owners, hey, we're going to go with Matt on this horse, they're like, oh, cool, fine. Some of them even prefer Matt, but like me and Yannick have talked about in time, there's plenty of work in our barn, for 2 drivers. There's, work for 3 drivers, actually. So it's not a hard thing. Them 2 get along. That makes it a lot better. They're not, jealous of each other or trying to undercut each other. So that has made it easy to work with both of them. But, in the end, it comes down to it's my decision. I decide who drives because I know the horse is the best, I feel, and I'm the one that's going to make the decision. And, I'll live with, how it works or it does not work.
Seems to be working well. Matt, Special K, where'd this come from?
I don't know, George Anthony the King, I guess.
And how do you feel? Would that be your choice, or would you like to be like Super K or something?
Super K. I didn't really like it at first, but it's kind of worn on me a little bit, and I'll just go with it.
Yeah, it's better than the names our barn calls him, so.
I saw a question right here.
Do you think you'll ever see a return to the single shaft sulky?
No, because it's, as far as I understood, it was too dangerous. I mean, I would like to return to the Cheetah. I mean, I thought it was the greatest bike we ever had, but, the drivers felt like when they did wreck, it kind of catapulted them a little bit, and it was a little bit too dangerous. So, truthfully, I think we'd be better off to go into one standard sulky and quit this every other week changing bikes. The only thing that works out for is that the people who make bikes make a lot of money, and then in 2 months we all got the new bike and we're all back where we started, and people were like, well, do they have the super shaft, this sulky hooked or that sulky hooked? Just makes it more confusing. I really think we should all go back to a standard sulky. This is it, same measurements, different sizes, but basically I think it has caused confusion in the game, and it's cost us a lot of money in bikes.
Matt, as a driver, can you comment on that too? How do you keep on top of all these different bikes?
Well, when they come out, we got to have them because, the new thing is what everybody's going with, If Dave Miller has the new one, Yannick's got the new one, I got to get the new one. People perceive that the bike makes that much of a difference. So, I don't want to be using an advantage and the owner thinking, well, if, Matt had the Tornado on, we would have won. So, I got to get that bike too.
I have time for one more question from the audience. Anybody have any questions? All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We do have one? I don't see it. Thanks, guys, for coming out. Good luck today in the Jugette and the Jug.
Ron, do you remember me? Okay, I didn't know whether you did or not. Okay. Bo Willie. Yeah.
We're going to take about a 10-minute break, and then we'll start again at 10 o'clock with the two top winningest drivers in North America, Aaron Merriman and Ronnie Wrenn Jr. Help yourself to free coffee and cinnamon rolls courtesy of the USTA and the OHHA, and thank you for joining us at the USTA Speaker Series.
Mutuals Online is the best place to bet on live horse races. At home or on the go. Earn rewards, free live video and replay, a no-fee, legal, secure way to wager, and #1 in customer support. Welcome to the club. Mutuals Online is the best place to bet on live horse races. At home or on the go. Earn rewards, free live video and replay, a no-fee, legal, secure way to wager, and #1 in customer support. Welcome to the club. Mutuals Online is the best place to bet on live
little short guy's here.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the USTA Speaker Series here at the Delaware County Fair. I'm your host this morning. I'm TJ Burkett, editor of Hoofbeats Magazine. We're also here live on the internet. We're taking questions over Twitter and over Facebook. This is Allison Conti. She's our new USTA social media coordinator, so she'll be asking any questions too. But we also would invite you to ask questions from the crowd. I'll open the floor when it comes time, and you can ask questions of these two gentlemen, and let me introduce them right now. Today we have the number 1 and number 2 winningest drivers in North America this year. They've been going back and forth. I was told that the gentleman here on my left, near left, is the leader right now. This is driver Ronnie Wrenn Jr.
What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing?
He's joined today by the number 2 driver by wins in North America this year. He's a Northfield mainstay, just inducted into the Northfield Wall of Fame, becoming the youngest inductee in that Hall of Fame's history. Please welcome Aaron Merriman.
Hola.
All right, gentlemen, thanks for coming in. Let's start right off. I'll ask you a question about the driver's race. Ronnie, tell us what it's like to be the number 1 driver in the country right now.
It's pretty sweet. I don't know, just a lot of hard work goes into it. I've driven a lot of races. It gives me a chance to win more races. But it's been a lot of fun. I've had the opportunity to drive for a lot of good trainers. And, I mean, it's definitely not over yet. You know, one day I'm leading, the next day I'm down 5. Aaron wins about 10 races a day, so it makes it hard.
What got you over the hump this year to make you win so many more races?
Compared to last year?
Yeah.
Just kind of doing the same thing I was last year, just driving at a lot of different tracks. I drive, 6 days a week. Instead of staying and hanging out with Josh Sutton on a Tuesday night here, I decided to go back and race at Northfield. Just trying to stay motivated, drive every night.
Okay, Aaron, what's it like to chase this guy around the track all year long so far?
Well, it's been tough. Like I said, it's been like a nip and tuck here lately. You just don't have an opportunity to have a bad day. You've got to have a good day every day. He went 7 on Monday, I think, and 6 last night, and it's just hard to keep up with that. There's only so many races, but it's just a nice thing, whatever. Especially with one of your peers and one of your good friends. It's just to have that competition every day, whether it's right in your face or not. But it's always in the back of your mind.
Thanks, Ben.
Ronnie, you have about 900 more drives than Aaron does, I think. I
have more.
You have more?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I knew I'd have to get that wrong somehow.
I'm a hard worker, yeah.
How do you stay motivated? How do you keep going every day, racing at the Meadows and then running over to Northfield Park to race that night as well?
It's very, very monotonous. I mean, really. But, once you kind of get in, a little bit of a groove, it just kind of goes with it, a few years ago I got hurt and I was just kind of saying, okay, I'm doing these double headers, and then when I come back, I really didn't want to do it. I was just like, oh my God, I want to be home. I want to race 3-4 days a week. But once you start doing it, you just kind of look at the entries. Well, I'm going to be here this day, and I've got 2 sets of doubles due today if you wake up in time, because we do get tired or whatever. And so then you got to worry about the judges or Ronnie, just taking your horses that you want to drive. He's because he's more responsible than I am, I guess. But it's very, very tough. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. Sometimes I'm race 7 days a week or 15 days straight, and it's like I said, it's very, very monotonous. But I mean, you gotta love to do it, and I do love to do it, and it's just great to be around your friends and peers all the time.
I'll say it's definitely hard doing what he does because every once in a while I'll go to the Meadows in the morning and then back to Northfield at night. And after the races at Northfield, Aaron will be like, hey, you want to go for a cocktail? And I just want to go home and go to bed because I'm exhausted from the 2-hour drive back and forth, and he does it every day, all year. And I just give him a lot of credit for doing it because what he does up and down the road and the freeways, driving, 15 races at the Meadows and back 15 races at Northfield, it's just incredibly hard, and he just stays motivated and does a good job.
For those of you just joining us, we're at the USTA Speaker Series. We're with the top 2 drivers in North America by wins right now. Number 1, Ronnie Wrenn Jr., and number 2, Aaron Merriman. This is just like a press conference. I'm going to open the floor to any questions if you have for either of these 2 drivers. Anybody have any questions right now? Just a moment, sir. If you have a question, I'll come back with the microphone and you can ask your question. All right, we got a fake out there.
No. Please go back to him and let him ask the question.
Don't let him get stage fright.
I'll give it to Amy here.
Go ahead.
Okay, you're together 5 nights a week, all year long. It's actually closer than a lot of your family members. So what do you guys do every night all together to kind of keep it where you just don't want to kill each other and break up the monotony?
Who says we don't want to kill each other? I don't know. We just have a good friendship, and I don't know. Go ahead, Aaron. You can answer this.
Yeah, I mean, we became good friends a year in the last year and a half since he's been there. Anytime someone comes in, you don't know him, whatever. Things may start off rocky or awkward or whatever, but we just have a lot of things in common, and it's just fun. These people don't understand. These are our friends, and we're with these people every day. Busting other guys' balls in the driver's room and doing it together, or busting each other's. Talking about sports. Anything but racing. Literally, we don't talk about racing ever. So that really makes it easy.
Again, we're here at the USTA Speaker Series with Ronnie Wrenn Jr., Aaron Merriman. Thanks for joining us. We have plenty of seats up here if you want to come up and have a seat or have a free cinnamon roll. We have just a few
I
left.
brushed my teeth today. This front seats.
Ronnie, I have a question for you. You had recently changed your driving colors. Can you tell us about how that came about?
Yeah, my dad passed away earlier this year, and I decided to go from the brown and white to the maroon and black, and that's what colors he was. I chose the brown and white because when I got into the business, I was working for my Uncle Pete, and that's how that came about.
Has it affected your success thus far this year?
Lately, yeah, I stay motivated. When I look down and I see the maroon and black colors, it just reminds me of my dad, and it gives me a little motivation to do well and just know he's watching over me. But it was hard, right when he passed away earlier this year. It was definitely hard for a little bit, but in the last few months it's gotten better. But having guys like Aaron and other drivers, they've really helped me, get over it.
Aaron, I'll ask you about.
It's all right. Don't be sad, everyone. It's all right.
Yeah, I don't want to drag us down. It's in case anybody was wondering. Aaron, tell us about your colors. How'd you come about getting the white and the red and the yellow?
Yeah, I got them from my dad, and I have red hair. Good-looking redhead guy, but I got red hair, so I really don't think I should be wearing red. You know what I mean? But my dad's colors, and it was out of respect to him. Almost same thing as Ronnie, and they're the exact same. And I actually had to put, ask the USTA to have my father's colors. But when you get brought up by somebody, whatever, it's just a respect thing, and it kind of makes them feel good and makes you feel good, and to represent those colors.
Tell us a little bit about your background in racing. Elaborate on that a little bit more. How did you raise to the level where you're at right now?
I really didn't like racing for a long time. I don't think I got my license until I was 20 or 21, and my dad, he's one of the nicest, most laid-back people, but he really kind of hey, you got to do stalls first, and I'm not one of these prima donnas or whatever. It's oh, I want to go out there and jog, and I want to go out there and drive. I really did it from scratch, and it just it kind of just grew on me. Once you go speed one time, really, you just probably race car drivers, you go speed one time, you just want to do it. And I'm like I said, I'm really happy I'm doing it.
Unlike Aaron, I probably am the prima donna because I didn't get into it until I was 20 because I played sports and I went to college for a little bit. But I never really went into the cleaning stalls part. When I worked for my uncle, I'm like, hey, I want to jog horses. I want to train babies with you. That sounded like a lot more fun than clean stalls. It's kind of worked out. Don't get me wrong, I've done my fair share of stalls too, but it was never one of my favorite things to do.
All right, we have a question right here in the audience.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask what drivers influenced you the most when you were getting started, but it sounds like a lot of it came through your family, but are there any others?
You know what, Brett Miller, when I was younger, he's not much older than me, but he worked for my dad for, a long time, and just to see him grow as a driver, it's just, I kind of looked up to him, he was a cool guy, and, when I was in high school, whatever, he was just starting, and really, he had a lot of guys drive his own, you know what I mean, and just the transition he made from, like I said, from the bottom, to where he's at now. I've always looked up to Brett Miller a lot. He might not be the biggest name in the sport, but really he's making a name for himself, and of course, my father, and just pretty much local guys, whatever that, that's done well.
Mm-hmm. How about you?
For me, probably just my family, because I wasn't around, you know, the horsemen when I was younger, so I had no one really look up to. But if I look up to anyone now, after meeting him about a month ago when he came to Northfield, I love Ron Pierce.
Man
I think
crush.
he is the man. I think he gives the best interviews, and he's definitely one of the best drivers out there.
I agree. I told him he'd like him.
One last question. Since you both said that you weren't into racing in the beginning, if you weren't doing this, what else would you be doing?
I'm famous for wanting to be a mailman. Like, that's, like, I mean, it sounds crazy, but like, I just think it's so cool, like, to walk around and deliver mail, you know what I mean, and wear that crazy uniform, but my driving record's not good enough to drive that mail truck, so I'll never be able to get to it.
I don't know if I can top that one. The Browns quarterback, I always wanted to be a football player.
All right, for those of you just joining us, we're with Ronnie Wrenn Jr., driver Aaron Merriman. We got some, we're broadcast live on the internet as well, so I'm going to turn it over to Allison Conti, our social media manager at the USTA, and she's going to ask those questions on their behalf.
Okay. Raymond Lance on Twitter wants to know from both of you guys, if you could sit behind one past Jug winner, who would it have been? What year? Well, I guess you don't have to tell the year.
We
But
don't, this is not a history lesson. I mean, I guess there's like a lot of horses most recent, but you know what? Nansemon comes to my mind only because I remember when I first like was around my dad driving the horses, and he had one of the meanest horses ever in the stall, and it was by Nansemon. I was like, oh, you know, then I just overheard them talking about being a Jug winner, and like, you know, I mean, he wasn't an overwhelming favorite and like that, you know, and he was kind of big, and you didn't know if he was going to get around a half, but just, you know, just a horse like that, you know, I mean, just in the past where technology isn't the way it is now, and you know, the race bikes and equipment, it's so easy to say, you know, with all the, you know, things we've gone forward in this business, but I'd like Nansemon, I think.
I only go back about 5 years for being in this business, so I'd like to sit behind this year's Jug winner. So if anyone wants to make a driver change, just let me know. I'm willing to drive tomorrow. If not, maybe like Vegas Vacation or Well Said. You know, they're both really nice horses.
and from Joel Schwartz for Aaron, with Ohio racing on the mend, how long do you think it'll be before we have another Ohio-bred Jug winner?
I mean, really with the Siders now, I mean, it could be any year, you know. I mean, I'm not going to say next year or the year after, but I think with the new Siders, whatever, like, you know, give it a few years, I mean, I think there's every opportunity for there to be a Jug winner in Ohio again, and that'd be, you know, absolutely phenomenal for our state and phenomenal for the sport or whatever, to kind of keep it here.
And for both of you, from Joel Schwartz, do you ever see yourself going to the Big M and trying to join that driver's colony?
I'm pretty happy where I am right now. I like racing in Ohio, but, you know, if the opportunity presents itself, I might think about going out there.
It'd have to be a very good opportunity, like to tell me that they're going to put me on the favorite in every race. But no, I mean, the money's really, really good in Ohio. The competition's, I'm not saying it's just as good. This business is all about opportunity. You know, there's a lot of good drivers in this sport. You know, of course, they're separated by either money or wins or opportunity. You know, there's a lot of guys sitting on the sidelines that might be as talented or just don't get the opportunity, you know, and the right horses. You got to have a good horse. But I mean, I just don't foresee myself leaving. I've got a family, and I'm very, very happy in Ohio. I've had opportunities to leave, and I never left yet.
And Aaron, can you tell us a little bit about your experience driving in the Hambletonian this year?
It's just a phenomenal experience. I mean, just to be in part of a race like that, I would have been happy if I got a paddock in it. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I'm not being sarcastic. Like, you know, I think I'm like 0 for 20 at the Meadowlands, but you know, that fourth place finish to me was like 100 wins. You know, it was just awesome, and you know, it's on national television, and it's just like being part of the Jug this week. You know, I might not be the favorite or have a great shot to win, but you know, what a great, you know, thing to put on your resume. Say, you know, I drove in the Jug, you know, I drove in the Hambo, and my horse raced really, really well, and really overachieved in the Hambo, and like I said, it's just what a great experience.
Let's talk more about your Jug starter. Race 15, you have Avalanche Hanover. Tell us about this horse.
You know, he tracks the horse well. You know, he's been on the board a lot. He hasn't raced against the top colts this year, you know, which is gonna, you know, it's gonna be a big test for him. I don't know how much he can pace on a half. You know, he's pacing 50 and change, but these horses are pacing 48. But you know, half mile track, if he gets around here, he does train here. You never know. Like, I'm not gonna say he's gonna go out there and win, but I think he has an opportunity to be 4th or 5th and possibly make the final. I'm not expecting anything, you know, but I'm gonna have him a shot to, you know, get away close and get it, you know, good piece of it.
All right, we have a question over here from this gentleman.
Is there such a thing as matching the driver with the horse, or can a good driver handle just about anything that he gets up behind?
I guess there's such thing as maybe match the driver with the horse, but not every person's going to go along with every horse. You know what I mean? Like some horses, like, you know, will go for Ronnie and won't go for me or go for somebody else. It just, you know, they have a personality too. I mean, they're just like your pet. You know, they have a personality too, and sometimes they just clash. You just clash, and it doesn't work out that way. I don't know how Ronnie feels, but but some horses I just can't make go.
I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, certain horses, you know, respond to the whip, others don't. You know, some horses like when you yell at them, or, you know, I think it just depends. You know, some horses get along with certain drivers that are aggressive because they like being near the front and they like getting out of the gate. Other drivers that are patient get along with closers. So it just depends on the horse, and, you know, you just have to look at the program and see how the race should play out.
So if a trainer or an owner says, I've got to get another driver because that driver is not handling my horse right, even though it could be the horse's fault, you go along with that. Yes, there is such a thing as finding the right driver for the right horse.
Oh, sure, you know, and they're going to probably just turn the page and keep going until they keep trying. Like, but if it starts being where, like, where you get 3, 4 guys or whatever, and they don't work out, it's probably not the driver.
I've got a couple of questions. First for Aaron Merriman. You utilize social media and Twitter quite a bit to promote the sport. How important do you think that is for harness racing, and what other aspects could we improve on in the social media world?
I think it's very, very, very important, and unfortunately for Ohio, we're light years behind other states and things like that. Or whatever, like Northfield's done a great job letting me tweet, you know what I mean, and things like that. But the no phone rules, I think, is absolutely absurd. What you're doing is you're alienating, you know, the public, you know, from any information that could help them, you know, learn how to bet and learn how to be part of the sport. You might be able to get potential owners and things like that. I mean, I think social media is very, very important to this sport. Technology is going forward. We need to go forward with it, you know, and I really think that tracks and they should have a driver trainer do something every day. I mean, I really do. I think it will really help the sport, and I think they need to quit putting handcuffs on people in general, whatever, with their cell phones.
All right, and this one's for Ronnie. You're the most winningest driver last year and first so far this year. I've heard people discuss it all the time. Do you consider yourself to be one of the top drivers in the nation?
How do you feel, Aaron?
I mean, legitimately, I've drove with everybody. Like, you got to have a good horse. And I mean, like I said, I'll be honest. I mean, this kid can drive with anybody. I mean, he wins races in volume. You know what I mean? Like I said, he won 7 Monday, 6 yesterday. It doesn't matter who you are. You have to get the horse across. I don't care how good the horse is. I mean, any horse can lose any given race. Any horse can win any given race. You know, you don't know what's going to happen in a horse race. The kid does a great job. Like I said, I've driven with everybody, and I put his skills up. You know what I mean? If he had the right horse with anybody.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd also like to introduce this guy. He's a personal friend of mine. His name's Cubby Van Wagner. He is single, and he is ready to mingle. That's why he came down to Delaware this week. So tonight, if any ladies would like to give him an opportunity, stand up and introduce yourself, Cubby. Go ahead.
He's from Michigan, though, everybody, if you guys need it. That's
nothing wrong with
that's
that.
a deal breaker.
All right, we have a question here from Murray Brown.
Aaron, you and I are friends on social media. Just this past weekend, you on Sunday, you posted a remark that you were very, very upset with a drive you gave on Saturday night, and you let the world know about it. And you've probably done it 1 or 2 other times. I have never, and I've been in this business over 50 years, I've never seen or known of a driver come out and publicly chastise himself for seemingly driving a horse poorly. I just wonder, do you ever just turn the page and go on? Because, you know, I couldn't live doing, you know, feeling that way day after day after day. I realized this was a very special race, and this was a horse that you thought you could have done better with, but just wonder what your feelings were.
I was like I said, you know, I usually I can turn the page pretty good. You know what I mean? I couldn't a long time ago. I really had trouble with it. And this game is a thing of confidence and being able to be resilient. And like Saturday just really bothered me. I got a horse parked. You know what I mean? I kind of just overthought the race, and I overthought it going out of the gate. And it just really bothered me. I really never ever get embarrassed pulling up. I never really feel ashamed of a drive. Everybody makes mistakes, but I'm like I said, that one's going to stick. And, you know, you can't go back and do it again, unfortunately. But you know what? I'm driving the horse on Thursday. The owners don't really think it was my fault. I do. But, you know what I mean, as myself, like you said, I got to turn the page and just hopefully for the best on Thursday, you know. And hopefully I can make up for it.
I talked to Aaron the next day after that, and you know he was down about it. But I told him, I said, like, who cares? It's one drive. I mean, I know you want to do good for that trainer and owner, but I mean, I get parked all the time, and I drive bad all the time. We all do. You know, when you're driving as many races as Aaron does or any of the drivers, like you're gonna mess up. And I mean, I told him just don't worry about it. But he takes things to heart sometimes a little too much. But you know, he just really wants to do good for the trainer and driver, or trainer and owner rather.
Okay, we're here at the USTA Speaker Series. This is driver Ronnie Wrenn Jr., driver Aaron Merriman. If you're having trouble hearing in the back, there's plenty of seats up here. We have coffee and cinnamon rolls too, so don't be shy. Come in and join us. We're also opening the floor for questions. I have a question over here.
Thanks, TJ. Dave Brower, CBS Sports Network. Guys, first of all, I just want to say thank you very much for coming out this morning. I know everybody gets a real big kick out of these informal sessions and just a chance to chit-chat with you guys, have a few laughs before you actually have to go out and work. So thank you to you guys and to the USTA for sponsoring this series. Second of all, you guys are neck and neck. It's probably going to go neck and neck for this dash title right to December 31st. Tell us what the side bet is. We know there is one. Come on.
Legit, like, not between him and I, but like other people, like, I'm a person, I don't want it in my face. Like, you know what I mean? I just don't want it in my face. I don't look, I don't pay attention to it. I just don't want it in my face. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like a kind of guy, like, I'm just everyday grind, you know? I race a lot of races, you know what I mean? A lot of different tracks, and it's just tough, like I said, and you see, like, okay, well, man, like, and he just, like I said, he's like Allen Iverson, man. I mean, he's a volume scorer, you know? It's really, really tough, you know, and I'm getting there half a card, and I mean, I hook him up. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm not going to be there till the 7th. I said, hey, there's a couple horses in early. I said, just go put yourself on them. You know, I'm not a guy that's like, oh, my gosh, I don't want him to do good, you know. I mean, I want everybody to do good. You know, of course, I want myself to do good, too. So, I mean, I just, like I said, it's exciting. Like, we talk every day, but never, ever, ever about that.
Yeah, we don't talk about it together, but, like, I mean, that doesn't bother me. Like, if people talk about it, like, I like it. It's a good race. You know, it's a friendly rivalry that we both want to do good. You know, like, I'd be lying if I said I don't want to win. I want to win. You know, it's fun to be the leading driver. But, you know, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, you know, it's not the end of the world. At least my buddy's going to win it. Or maybe someone else.
All right, and again, I want to thank you both as well for embracing the social media context. I know you guys tweet a lot. You see that we tweet a lot in support of the sport, and we've got a lot of people that follow and talk to us, you know, back and forth and things like that. With the social media thing aside, simple question. What is your favorite part about Jug Week?
Like, off record or on? No, I'm just kidding.
We can talk about that later.
Right. Just the showcase of the sport, you know what I mean? Like, just how many people come out and non-horse racing fans and that become fans and things like that. And just the camaraderie you see amongst horsemen. It seems like they come together here, you know, and I mean, I don't know if it's a fairground atmosphere, you know what I mean? It's just a friendly atmosphere or what it is, but just people coming together. That's what I like.
Yeah, it's just fun to take part in it, and this is actually my first year taking part in it. You know, it's just fun. Like, this is pretty much the only track that I don't mind being 99-1 from the 8-hole going around in circles. It's just fun to be out there. You know, the fans are right over the fence cheering. They're all drunk, having a great time, and I just like to, you know, take part in that.
All right, thanks, guys. And just a quick plug for our show for the folks that are out there on the internet listening. If you can't be here in Ohio, please watch us on CBS Sports Network tomorrow from 5 to 6:30 Eastern, 90 minutes live. Gary Seibel and I will broadcast the Little Brown Jug, the Miss Versatility, and it's the first time that we've had the Little Brown Jug on national TV live since 1998. That's far, far too long. And it's my honor to be here to broadcast that.
That's why
race.
you guys need to promote our sport socially.
Thank you.
All right, and again, I want to thank you both. You know what I mean, like, just how many people come out and non-horse racing fans and that become fans and things like that. And just the camaraderie you see amongst horsemen. It seems like they come together here, you know, and I mean,
TJ, who's that guy next to you right there?
Yeah, he's next. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, we got some big names here in the audience as well. I'm joined here by the leading driver at Scioto Downs. This is Josh Sutton, and he has a question as well.
This is for my little social butterfly, big red machine. Who do you think looks at the notorious dry race board in the driver's room more, you or Ronnie?
Ronnie? No, he sits right next to it, so he has to look at when he comes to the
my
driver's
back,
room.
I hate it. Like, it bothers me. Kurt Sugg is very, very humorous, and he's got odds there, you know what I mean, and whatever, and like his prediction of the wins at the end of the year, I cannot stand it. Like, I almost have that USTA part of my USTA page blocked. I don't want to see it. Like, I'm well aware who wins the races and who doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I just don't want it in my face, really. I mean, that's just the way I've been. I never looked before.
That's probably why Kurt does it.
Yes.
Just throwing that out there.
Right. He's a little antagonistic. But, I mean, like, honestly, it's all in good fun, but when I'm having a bad day, it's not fun.
He doesn't have many bad days, so I don't know what he's complaining about.
Okay, thank you. Ronnie, take a deep breath before you answer this one. You had a little bit of trouble last year here at Delaware. There was a situation where, well, you can go ahead and tell us, but I remember you had a few drives and then you didn't have any more drives.
That's
so
not the
tell
first
us.
base photo rating, is it?
Yeah, he's in the first.
No, it's 10:30.
Okay, good. But they did a little bugles. False advertisement.
Next question.
It's like, thanks, Aaron.
No, like last year I remember coming in and they had, that piece of paper out saying that we have a whole new brand new set of rules for all you drivers to follow, which I had no problem following. The whipping, the kicking, whatever. I heard rumors going around that people said that, I left because I was kicking a horse and then that is why I left. But no, I got fined for leaning back when I was not leaning back. And instead of getting fined a couple $1,000s, and I was just driving mostly overnights, I didn't have a drive in the jug or jughead, or I probably would have stayed. I just decided to just leave and just take part in the other activities at Delaware.
I agree. The leaning back thing is like, I mean, us as fans too, it's almost like telling Michael Jordan how to dribble or Nolan Ryan how to throw a pitch. I mean, it's an individual thing. I can understand if you're doing it for showboating or some kind like that or whatever, take it away. But it's a way that people make horses go fast. I don't know if you look at the guys out east, like you say, as the top drivers or whatever, they all lean back. I mean, it's just the way, and not everybody does. All you're doing is you're conforming everybody and you're forcing everybody to do everything the same, which is wrong. And what you're doing is you're taking individualism out of a sport that needs individualism. You need people that have these kids come up or whatever, they want to mimic somebody. That you have to have that. What you're doing is, with these rules, are killing the individualism of a driver.
And that's exactly how I feel like when you guys go to like a professional football game and, you're going there to watch your favorite quarterback or, for whatever team. And each quarterback in the NFL has his own individual characteristics, whether he's a pocket passer, he likes to roll out, or if he just, is more precision passer, like in the pocket. And that's why you like them. And, they're not robots. They don't just drop back, hand the ball off, and don't move at all. And, they shouldn't treat us the same way. We're not robots out there. Each driver here this week has his own individual talents, and he should be able to show them however he wants. And if we're dangerous, one thing, like our handholds too far back and you're in a bad spot. But the drivers here are not dangerous. They've driven enough races. They know how to hold the horse. They know, they want to sit comfortable because that's, how they go about winning races. So I just don't understand how they can try to change
the
that.
rules are a little bit, like I said, and like you can probably take away the whipping and the kicking. You know what I mean? Like you won't have to do as much if you let these people drive the way they need to drive to get the most out of a horse. It really, really bothers me. It perturbs me to no end.
But I have not been fined this year. I just want everyone to know.
All right.
Knock on wood.
I've only drove about 6 races.
We appreciate your honest opinions there, gentlemen. For those of you here last year, Speaker Series, Tim Teacher said the same thing. He had some strong words after hearing about that situation as well. So I have another question here.
Yeah, Ronnie, a few weeks ago you drove my friend's horse, Victory is Coming, over at Scioto and set the world record, I think it was. Can you maybe comment on that mile?
She definitely won a big mile that night. I think the early fractions helped. I think Josh Sutton went to the half in 50 or something like that. But the race really just set it for her. She's an incredible mare. She's, real sharp right now. And she's one of the best drivers I've drove.
Okay, we have about 10 minutes left, just to make sure that Aaron gets in for the next race, or for the first race. We're going to take some questions from the internet, but first, Aaron, tell us about the shirt you're wearing. It looks like you're sponsored by a special organization that's with us today.
Yeah, New Vocations, it's just a great thing. It takes care of horses, when they're not able to be taken care of, and I've got nothing but good things to say about the organization. I'm proud to be part of it, as is Ronnie, and I've done a lot of things and always donated before I was a sponsor, and I just really like it. I thought you were talking about Dave Brower's little shot at my casualness, I think he said. Yeah, I've got sweats and a t-shirt. I'm a little bit tired. I didn't get fashionably ready for you today, Dave. Right.
Can you tell us who the sponsor is?
New Vocations. Get your shirts back there. You would look great under that jean jacket right there with a hoodie.
Okay, Pete Medhurst on Twitter wants to know, what is it about the Ohio circuit that seems to be a great training ground for quality drivers for both of you?
Just look at the drivers that's come from here. I mean, even a lot of the drivers in the Meadows, Dickie Stillings, these guys are Hall of Famers, and they're all born in Ohio. I think it's just, the history here, with the breed and things like that. In the last couple of years, like I said, it's been very, very unfortunate that, we've lost a lot of great horsemen and great drivers to, slaughter-rich places, including myself. But I always stuck to my roots, and, I commute every day to the Meadows and things like that. But, Ohio's it's just enriched with horseman talent.
I'm actually originally from Michigan, and because of the decline in harness racing in Michigan, I was forced to move to Ohio, which I'm completely happy with, but there's a lot of good owners and trainers and drivers moving to Ohio, not just out of it. There's been a lot of good drivers move out of it as well, like David Miller, Matt Kakali, and other drivers like that.
And Lori Ferguson would like to know, do either of you have any superstitions before a race that you do or don't do, any routines?
I'm not superstitious, but I know he is.
I used to be very superstitious, but I just wear everything black now. Like everybody used to tell me black was bad luck, and then, like I said, I've gotten a few wrecks. I was like, well, that's not true. So I switched everything to black as much as I can. I guess I got a few other ones. I don't really look at the program much. I think you just look too long. It doesn't really help you in the long run.
And not looking at a program is kind of a great lead into Standardbred Gal on Twitter wants to know, do either of you have a game plan before a big race, or do you just kind of wait for the wings to open and wing it?
A little bit of both. Like I said, when you race at a track all the time, like either Northfield or the Meadows, a lot of times you know the horses, and when you race against the same drivers, it's almost like if you know the drivers, you're going to be better off. You know what I mean? And so you kind of know drivers, idiosyncrasies and things like that, and I think that's how I kind of go on. I just kind of take a glance and look at my horse if it's a new horse, and just ask the trainer two things: usually if it's good gated and good on the gate. And I don't ask really what kind of trip they like or anything like that. I think that's what they hired me for.
And Ronnie?
Yeah, I think it just depends what size track you're racing on. Like at Northfield, it's definitely, I think, plays in your advantage if you're aggressive. If you got the inside, the 1, 2, 3 hole, you would like to get away close or get on the front end. And but I look at a program. I don't study it for 20 minutes, but I'll look at it and see who's in the race. But the best thing to do is just look at the guys off the gate and see what they're doing, and see where the favorites are going and where you want to get away. Just kind of play it by ear.
Got time for about one more question from the crowd, and then we got to let these guys go do their job. Do we have another question for Cubby?
Ronnie, you're from Michigan, currently reside in Ohio. I just want to make sure everyone here knows, who is your favorite college football team?
Michigan Wolverines.
Thank you.
That's a tough country to ask that, Cubby.
Go Blue.
Okay, I got a question for you, Aaron. We touched on your fourth place finish in the Hambletonian, and now that horse is here in Delaware racing tomorrow. Tell us about that horse.
That's the one I drove absolutely horrible on Saturday, that in my opinion. He's just a nice horse. Like I say, he's another one that's probably not, the top horse, but he's just a nice, handy horse, and he does his job, and I don't know how he's going to be around a half, because sometimes he wants to run in, and sometimes he doesn't. He's a stud, so I'm hoping he's got a good attitude because he's so close to home. Il Sogno Dream, and that's what I'm hoping. I mean, I hope he's all right. He's got the 10-hole, so I really hope I can't get parked. That's a good thing. But I really think that he can win that race with any sort of trip. Yeah, there you go, Murray.
How does the 10-hole work here at Delaware? Do you get to choose who you follow, or do you have to follow the 2-horse?
I can choose who I follow, like 2 through 8. Like I can't like just bumper car the 1 or the 9 or whatever and follow the 1. But I don't even know who I'm gonna. I haven't even looked. Like I said, I haven't looked at a program. But the 10, you can follow like the 2 through the 8. I guess if you had to run away and the 5 was a lever, you can just put right on the 5's back and go with them. But that's probably not going to happen.
Okay, I have a question for both of you here. It's kind of silly, I think, but your ideal drive, do you want to be tons the best and just go on and leave them behind, or do you want to be off the pace and come from behind?
I want to be tons the best and win by 10.
I mean, everybody wants that, you know what I mean? But like, I don't care. I just want to win. It doesn't matter to me which it is. But I guess when it's really, really easy. But then, truthfully, I don't really ever feel pressure unless I'm like a big favorite. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're supposed to win. When you're supposed to win, it kind of like just kind of puts a little bit of a hidden thing. Like, oh my God, if I lose, what the heck am I going to do? You know. But you just want to be tons of best, roll out of the gate, be up by 10, and win by 10, and not have to move your arms.
And question again for both of you, what's the best horse you're driving right now? Which horse do you most look forward to driving?
It might not be the best horse. I like a trotter named Tamarind. I just like him because he's little, doesn't have much gate speed, and he just likes to be roughed up. Just a nice horse. That's one of my favorite horses to drive right now. He's one of my favorite horses because he's just small and he can trot fast.
I'd say Victory is coming just because she's the sharpest right now, and she's got some big races coming up, and she's on her A game right now.
Okay, any questions from the audience here? We got whoa. Woo. All right, we got one from this gentleman here in the red shirt.
Just a quick question, pacers or trotters, you have a preference?
I used to love pacers because like you could just kind of like throw lines at them, but I love trotters. I mean, if you drive a good trotter, there's absolutely no question. As you just heard Ronnie, like his favorite horse to drive right now is a trotter. I mean, if you drive a nice trotter, it's not even a question. You know what I mean? Besides a nice pacer.
I don't care either, trotter or pacer. Whoever's 1 to 5 and much the best.
Okay. Who is more aggressive on the track between you two, and which one's more aggressive off the track?
Be more specific. What do you mean off the track?
No, we're going to leave it at that. Use your imagination, Josh.
That's Josh Sutton for you guys, just so you know.
I don't think there's enough aggression allowed in this world besides Josh on and off the track, so it doesn't even make it. So that question was he's probably looking in the mirror. He's like, and talking about his personalities.
All right, we have one more question from Murray Brown, and that'll wrap it up.
Given your choice, guys, would you sooner be leading driver in the country or win a big race like the Jug, the Hambletonian, Meadowlands Pace, that type of race?
I would rather lead the country in most money win, or earnings, rather than wins, personally. Yeah, no, not wins, earnings. Money, the green.
It doesn't really make a difference to me. Every race means something to somebody, and winning never gets old, that's for sure. So just winning races or whatever. So I guess winning driver, and hopefully you can be the leading driver and win the Jug. But I guess, I don't even know if that's ever been done, but we need a stat man, Roger Houston, and he'll tell us.
Okay. Be sure to join us right here tomorrow morning for the USTA Speaker Series. We start at 8 a.m. with the DRF. We'll handicap the USTA Strategic Wagers on the Jug program. Then at 9 o'clock, we'll have Tim Tetrick and Dave Maneri, the connections of He's Watching. And at 10 a.m., the Hall of Famer John Campbell. Thank you, everyone, and welcome, and thank you, Aaron Merriman and Ronnie Wrenn Jr.
Free live video and replay, a no-fee, legal, secure way to wager, and #1 in customer support. Welcome to the club.